Hey everyone! So I am about to leave for work. Hold on, let me turn down my music. It's a little bit hard to talk and have your music going on. So I am heading into Washington for work, and instead of going straight to work, I'm leaving a little bit early, and I am going to go to lunch at a yarn store, and I thought I would bring you guys along with me. So let's hit the road. And welcome to the Knit Shift. My name is Laura. Today is Monday, September 11th, 2017, and this is episode 93. If you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out my podcast. I am Laura. Like I said, I am a journalist in Northern Virginia, and I live here with my dog Gracie, who Gracie, I said your name, who I'm gonna see how this filming setup works with me being a little bit off center and Gracie off to my left here. We'll see how it goes. I have the windows, the blinds are open to let more light in, and I think the lighting is really good right now, but it also lets Gracie see who's coming and going, and she takes it upon herself to guard me from all of the evil people like the trash collectors and the recycling collectors and neighbors. So we'll see how long this positioning lasts and if I can keep it up. But you can see how intently she's looking out the window right now. But I know people like Gracie a lot on this podcast, so I thought if I can get both of us in the frame, this is her favorite spot here on the couch to snuggle. And the blanket she's sitting on, I just bought her this morning at Costco. It's microfiber, really plush on one side, and it's like a faux lamb's wool on the other. And I washed it and I dried it, and it's now warm, so I had a feeling she was gonna settle in there. She's really spoiled. I mean, I have all these quilts. The quilt on the back of the couch my mom made. You can see the yellow and rainbow blanket on the other side of the couch. She's been lying on the rainbow blanket for weeks, basically, since we moved in here, but I decided to get a really cozy blanket for her because she's old, and the floors are tile in this apartment, and I think she's a little sore jumping up and down off the bed. So what can I say? I'm a sucker. Anyway, all of that is a really long intro and a way to say thank you for watching my podcast. This is The Knit Shift. It's episode 93. Show notes can be found at theknitshift.com. This episode lives on iTunes and YouTube and will be embedded at the blog. I'm on Ravelry as Yarnstormer. I'm on Instagram as Laura Mahalski, and links to both of those will be in the show notes. And we do have a Ravelry group for the podcast. If you go to the groups tab on Ravelry and search for The Knit Shift, you will find us. I think that's it for the administrative stuff. If I have my act together, I will insert some footage at the beginning or the end of some of my adventures recently. I went into DC early. I work in the city, and I went into DuPont Circle, which is not right near where I work. It's a different metro line and a few stops away. I went on an adventure to visit a new yarn store, new to me I mean, because I just moved here, and I did a little filming while I was out and about. Not as much filming as I would have liked because I managed to lose my camera case. Not the camera obviously, because I'm talking to you on the camera right now, but I did lose the camera case, so I was not keen on bringing my camera in and out of my backpack quite as frequently because it was not as protected. Anyway, so hopefully I'll have my act together and insert some footage here because I really like doing that kind of filming, and I think it adds a little something to the podcast, so hopefully you enjoy it too. So it's been kind of a week around here, to be honest. I'm glad I didn't record last week. I needed the week off, and I think I am gonna keep to the every 2-week schedule here on out. There were several bad things that happened, but the main one is that my grandma Mary passed away. And I won't talk about it too much because I'll get really emotional, and I feel myself getting emotional just even saying it. If you watch the podcast, you know that I've knit socks for my grandma before. She's my mom's mom. She was 95, she just turned 95. I got to see her most recently in mid-August. It was almost a month ago. I went up to Pittsburgh for a family wedding. She did not attend the wedding. They just tired her out too much, but we all went to breakfast on Sunday morning. She was just such a tremendous person and such an amazing woman. She raised 10 kids, and she had 21 grandkids and 11 great-grands, the most recent of which being my niece Olivia. And I'm so glad Olivia got to meet Mimi, and Mimi got to meet her twice. You know, Olivia's only 6 months old, but I'm so glad she got to meet her great-grandma. So I won't talk about it much more, but it's just been kind of a week. So I've tried to stay busy. I have been knitting a lot where I can, but mostly I've just been trying to get out of the house and do stuff to keep myself busy and keep my mind occupied, because I needed to get out and about and not just sit at home alone with Gracie. My boyfriend Josh, my partner Josh, he is moving up here at the end of September. Right now he's kind of going between Norfolk and here. He'll spend a few nights a week up here, and then he goes back to Norfolk a few nights a week. So it's kind of a crazy time, but I'm really looking forward to him being here and not having to deal with this back and forth stuff. I'm enjoying my day off, as sad as I am. I'm enjoying my day off. I went to Costco, and I'm gonna see a friend for dinner tonight and see some friends tomorrow for knitting and dinner. So I'm trying not to mope. My grandma would not want me to mope, but it's really hard not to when she has been such a tremendous person in my life. So with that, all that said, let's get to the knitting. I don't have any finished objects to share with you this week, but I do have a few works in progress, including 2 new ones, and I have a ton of yarns. And if you're new here, yarns is just my silly word that I say instead of yarn. So let's get to the knitting. I will show you the closest thing I have to a finished object right now, which is a pair of socks I've been knitting on the Metro. I am so close to being done. I really thought I might get done with these ahead of filming today, but no such luck. These are Hey Lady Hey socks in the colorway Prim. This is her sock yarn. It's a 75-25 superwash merino nylon. And since last week, I've probably knit 3 inches. I was probably right about here. And I am on the cuff. So this is my standard sock recipe. You can see I'm knitting these 2 at a time. Toe up, and I did a gusset and heel flap. And I carried on up the leg. I did some increases along the way to make them a little bit wider, because I'm knitting these on a size 0, which is quite small. So I needed to make the leg a little bit bigger. So I did some increases. That's the nice thing about 2 at a time socks, is what you do to the first sock, you can do the second. You don't have to take notes. You just do it on the next round, which I really love. So that's one of the main reasons I do love 2 at a time socks. So I'm knitting these on a size 0 needle. I believe these are Haya Sharps. Yes, they are Haya. I'm reading the words right now. I have enjoyed knitting with these needles. However, can you guys see that? One of the needles got bent. And I've tried to straighten it back out a bit, but it's been a little bit difficult. So I'm still knitting on these. I will finish the socks, but I have to say I will probably get rid of these needles when I'm done because, you know, it's just not tenable to keep a needle that's bent. I mean, that's no way to knit. And it almost feels like, no, I guess it is just the one bend. They were really, I think they must have gotten bent in my bag or something. So it's probably as much user error, you know, it's more user error than it is the error of the needles. But yeah, it's a pretty substantial break. Oh, Gracie just missed, there's a squirrel that just ran by our front door, and Gracie is snugging and asleep on the, let me see if I can, I don't know if it'll focus on her instead of me. But anyway, Gracie is asleep on her new blanket. She's so cute. So yeah, I have to finish these. I'm really hoping I can finish these by tomorrow night. I know I said that last week I wanted to finish them on my weekend. I never did, but I have made quite a bit of progress on the cuffs. So this is how much I have left of the cake, probably about 30 to 35 grams, quite a bit. I could make them much more taller, but I'm just kind of ready to be done with these guys. I've had them on the needles for quite a few months. And I'm carrying these around in my Mrs. Brown's bag. The next pair of socks I have to show you is a one at a time sock I'm knitting. And I spoke about this bag on my last episode 2 weeks ago, episode 92, and I said I didn't know who made the bag for me. Y'all, it was my mom. My mom watched the episode and she sent me a really sweet note and she's like, honey, I made that bag for you, and I felt like a real dingbat. So thank you, Mom. I love this bag so much. And I have just added a pin to it. It says, I feel like knit. I got this at Fiberspace right here in Alexandria. I love that it's a skein of yarn. I kind of love that it's black. They had other colors, but I really, for some reason, I just thought the black looked really nice. So, yes, I love having that little pin on this bag. And the bag that my mom made. So sorry, Mom. Well, I have finished the first sock. These are my opal rainbow socks. And I don't recall where I was. I've been bad about putting stitch markers in my socks. But I finished the first sock. And I am partway through the second. I'm almost to the heel, not quite. So these have been another pair of socks that I have knit on my commute quite a bit. I am knitting these on Chiaogu size 1 needles, which is I believe a 2.25 millimeter. I can never remember. I know they're a US one. I can't see the writing. It might have worn off, but love Chiaogu. They're among my favorites. Obviously, I'm knitting these toe up, just plain stockinette, and the heel is a contrasting color. I believe this is Loopy U sock yarn. But I think it works quite well. You can barely tell there's a difference between this yellow and that yellow. So quite happy with these. This is a pretty thick opal sock yarn, I have to say. But I think it's, I don't know the line. There's so many dozens and dozens of opal sock yarn lines, but this is a pretty thick yarn. So I had to go up to a size 1. So the next 2 works in progress are 2 that you have not seen. One of them is brand new, and since it's a sock, I will continue on down the path of showing you guys socks. Now the squirrel is eating stuff in the yard. I'm sure you guys are just riveted by my squirrel dialogue today. These are socks for my dad for Christmas. I'm carrying these in a dumpling bag that I got at Knitting Addiction in the Outer Banks. I don't think there's a brand. Whoever makes them stopped making them for the store, which made me sad because this is one of my favorites. So this is Langja wool sock yarn. This is of course a classic German wool nylon blend. I'm using a size 1 needle, and here is how the sock looks. I really like this yarn. It almost looks like hand spun, you know, with the marled tendencies there. I just think it looks really sharp. So these are for my dad, so they are a bit bigger. I'm knitting these over 72 stitches on a size 1 needle. I started with 36, and I think these are gonna be really nice. My dad specifically asked me for socks for Christmas. Not that I'm ranking my family, but I think of all the people who I have knit socks for, I think my dad loves the socks the most, which makes me really happy. So he mentioned wanting some socks, so of course I had to cast some on. So, and I don't think I mentioned it, but the other 2 pairs of socks are both for me, but these are for my dad. So I'm knitting these on a new to me needle. These are carbons. They are US 1 2.25 millimeters. I picked these up again at Fiberspace last week. I went last Monday with my friend Elspeth, who lives right here in the neighborhood, and it was a lovely day. We went for midday lunch and margaritas because it was Labor Day, and then we went over to Fiberspace and did a little browsing and shopping. So I had never tried carbons, but I really wanted to, and I have to say I'm really enjoying it. The points are not especially sharp. If that is a thing for you, you probably just need to keep that in mind. I like how long the tips are. I have to say I don't feel any issue with the join. Nothing has caught on the joins yet. In fact, let me pull out my Chiaogu and I'll do a little side-by-side comparison of the points for you. So the Chiaogu tip is a little bit longer, that's these guys over here, and the tip on the carbons is a little more blunt. That being said, I think that the carbons work well for sock yarn that is not especially splitty. I wouldn't use it for a really thin sock yarn on a size 0, but for a sturdy German sock yarn, I think that they work well. I almost like that they're not too sharp because I tend to poke myself quite a bit with knitting needles. So I love my Chiaogus. Again, these are also size 1s, but they're just a tiny bit sharper, which I also like. So each has its merits in my opinion. I'm not someone who notices the cord very much. I don't think about the cord a lot when it comes to my knitting. I think this cord is quite light. It seems quite flexible. In fact, it might be a little more flexible than the Chiaogu, I have to say. So I will definitely keep knitting on these and I'll let you know if my opinion changes, but so far I'm really enjoying these. Fiberspace has a little needle bar where you can kind of try needles and try them out before you buy them, which I think is really nice. So I did that, but I knew I really wanted to buy them anyway because it's not like they had the exact size I wanted sitting there for me to try. It was more like a worsted weight, like a size 5, size 6. So I tried it, but I knew I was coming home with these anyway. So knitting these one at a time for my dad. Here is the yarn cake. You can see it's got burgundies and some greens and oranges and blues. It'll be a really fun sock to see knit up. I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. So yeah, I'm really trying to finish the pink socks and maybe turn the heel of the rainbow socks before I get back to these guys. So I'd like to clear some of my needles. And finally, my last work in progress is a shawl that I'm working on. I have not shown this to you guys. I started this in late June. I think I started it in mid to late June as all of my excitement was starting with changing jobs and my interview and all that. So I just wanted to start a new shawl, and I am more than halfway done, but I still have a way to go because it's a large one. So this is the Vertices Unite shawl by Stephen West. And it is a shawl knit from sock yarn, and you use 5 different colorways. And this isn't a great photo because it's all wrapped around his neck, but that is the large size. And it's just a lot of garter and yeah, 5 different yarns. So I will show you the yarns I'm using first, and then I'll show you the shawl. So here are 2 of the colorways I'm using. Let me pull up my notes to make sure I get the names right. So this is Sweet Georgia Tough Love Sock in the colorway Snowfall. It's a lovely dove gray, kind of an icy gray, I should say. And it is a merino nylon blend, but it is so soft, it feels like there could be cashmere in here. I love this yarn, and I would love to buy more of it. And I'm also using Hedgehog Fibers Twist Sock in the colorway Minx. I love this yarn so much. This was a club colorway that I got whenever I was in the Hedgehog Twist Club, and this colorway alone made me really want to stick around. So there's the first 2 colors. So you can kind of see I've got a gray thing going on. Then here are the next two. This is Lammy Toes Moon Pie Merino in the colorway Rebel Girl. And it's kind of a gray base, but then there are all these bonkers colors like greens and blacks and pinks and purples and reds. Oh, that's like the glamour shot right there. Look at how pretty that is. I love this yarn. This is Ba Yarns, and it's the La Jolla base, which is a merino nylon. And this is merino nylon too, by the way. And this is the colorway Garnet. So you can see it is a semi-solid purple with hints of pink, actually. And my last colorway is Spun Right Round sock yarn in the colorway Dreamcatcher, and it's this lovely cool gray with undertones of turquoise and orange and brown and a little bit of black. So let me hold these all up together. So there are all of my colorways. So you can see I was going for kind of a speckled gray theme, and then the purple is like a nice accent. So there's all my colors. Let me put those back in my bag. And here is the shawl. It's knit in 5 different sections, and I am on the 3rd section right now. So here is the first section. I'll give you the full shot in a minute. The first section I used the Sweet Georgia and the Hedgehog striped, the first 2 yarns I showed you. And then the second is the Ba and the Lammy Toes. I just think those look so fun together. And the 3rd section is just the, this is just the Spun Right Round in the Dreamcatcher. And you can see this is active stitches on the 2nd section here. So at some point I'll be picking that up for the border. So let me see if I can try to hold this back enough. Hopefully you guys are getting the effect. This first section is really enormous. And then this section here, the Dreamcatcher is kind of going to be a rectangle. It will continue across the edge here. So I have actually just started turning. I've just started turning here. I'm sorry, Gracie, are we disturbing you? She likes to make her opinions known. And I'm knitting that on a Knit Picks needle, and I believe it's a size 7, 4.5 millimeters. So the Vertices Unite shawl is by Stephen West. It is a paid for pattern, and I'm knitting the larger size. There are 2 sizes offered, and I'm knitting the big size. So it's gonna be an enormous wrap. So yeah, I'm knitting that shawl. I'm really enjoying it. I definitely am gonna finish it before Rhinebeck, which last time I did not mention to you, but I will be at Rhinebeck this year. It was kind of a spur of the moment decision, in so much as it's still 2 months out, and you know, that's not really spur of the moment, but my friend, who I just mentioned earlier, Elspeth, had a spot in her house, and I just decided, you know what, if I can get the time off work, let's do it. I'm 3.5 hours closer to New York than I was before. So I'm going, and I'm really excited because it'll be my first time. So if you're gonna be at Rhinebeck, let me know, and I would love to say hello. Hopefully I'll run into you. So we are staying at a house that someone has rented, and it looks tremendous, and I'm super excited. So yeah, I plan on having that finished for Rhinebeck, and perhaps one other shawl that I have on the needles. So stay tuned for that. That brings us to yarns, which I actually have quite a lot of. Because when you don't podcast for a few months and you're going through some stuff and you want to celebrate some good news, or if you're sad and you want to make yourself feel better, yarn is always the answer. So let's get to it. When I found out that I got the job offer, actually I think I waited at least until I accepted the job offer from the Post, I decided to treat myself at my local yarn shop in Virginia Beach called the Yarn Club, and I bought 2 skeins of junk yarn. And this is Leslie. This is Boss Sock, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon, which is my preferred base for socks. It's about 400 yards. It's slightly plumper. And this is named for Leslie Knope, if you watch Parks and Recreation. And I think this might be my next pair of socks for myself. I'm really excited. So love this. And then I was feeling the muted tones, and I got Scout. I don't always buy yarns for the names, but I'm sure this was named for To Kill a Mockingbird, the character of Scout. and I just thought it was so pretty and subtle. It's this beautiful, again, kind of a dove gray with flecks of purple and green and a little bit of darker colors. And oh, there's this nice splash of kind of a cranberry purple pink back here. So really pretty stuff. The next thing I have to show you is a skein that I got at Fiberspace a week ago. I bought a skein of the Lemonade Shop, and this is an 80/20 400 yard skein, and this is the colorway Pixie Sticks. I don't know what it is with me and these subtle grays with like little speckles or flashes of color, but I am into them these days. I don't know what that says about me, but really pretty, very pale gray with just a little hint of color. So not sure what this is gonna be. I'd like to save it for a shawl if possible, because it is so pale. Maybe I can do like a cowl or something out of it. So really excited. Never bought the Lemonade Shop before, but happy to buy it. On last Tuesday, that was the day, later in the day, I found out about my grandma, and my week kind of just went downhill from there, obviously. I was at dinner with friends when I got the call from my dad about my grandma, but before that, I stopped at a yarn shop. I was over in Tyson's Corner, which is a, I don't know who knows what about Northern Virginia geography, but it's kind of in the western burbs. I'm kind of almost south of DC in Alexandria, and Tyson's Corner has a big shopping mall, and there's actually a yarn store in Vienna called, and I'm blanking on the name, and I'm so sorry. I think it's called A Fine Fox Yarns, and if that's wrong, I will correct it in the show notes, so apologies. But lovely little shop, and I bought myself a 2 ounce, is it 2 ounces? This says that it's 4 ounces, but I think it's really 2 ounces because it only cost about $12. This is Feel the Burn, which is a knitted wit colorway, and this is Corriedale. So burgundies and reds and oranges, and I'm hoping I can get started on my spinning wheel again soon because I'm dying to. And finally, I went to DuPont Circle in the shop, in the adventure I mentioned earlier, and Looped is a lovely yarn shop, and they have a great selection. The ladies who work there were super nice, and this skein of Madeline Tosh sock came home with me, and this is the colorway Kenobi, as in Obi-Wan, and it's, again, a gray. I don't know what it is about me and gray the past few months, but it's a really beautiful tonal gray with almost like a, it looks almost purpley here in this light, but it really is a lovely medium slate gray. So I will probably save this for a shawl because it is 100% merino. I'm really not keen to put this in a pair of socks. So I don't know why it's called sock when it's 100% merino, because yeah, Tosh sock, 100% merino. I can't knit socks out of 100% merino. I need the nylon content. So quite a bit of spoiling myself in the past few months. Of course, not all of that was purchased in the past week, but 2 skeins and a mini braid of fiber were, and the pin on my bag earlier, so I've definitely been treating myself the past few weeks. With that, I think that's everything I had to share this week. Work is going great. I love my new job. The coworkers are amazing. Everyone is lovely and tremendously gracious and friendly. You know, it's a place where there's a lot of big names, and I was really nervous about, you know, talking to some people, but everyone has been so amazing and down to earth, and I feel very fortunate to be here. So loving the job, loving what I get to do every day, and feeling very fortunate for that. So and I get to knit on my commute, which, I mean, what else could I ask for, honestly? So again, I'm gonna keep to an every 2 week recording schedule for now. Thank you so much to everyone for your comments on the last video I posted about the new job and what I've been up to. It's tremendously gratifying that people want to watch this podcast, and I hope to film more out and about. I have a new camera bag coming today since I lost the last one. I think it just fell out of my backpack on the metro, unfortunately, but thank God the camera was not in it. That's all I have to say about that. I think that's everything. Have a tremendous week, have a great weekend, and I will see you guys soon. Happy knitting, bye!